The world is moving towards a digital economy, and broadband needs are becoming bigger and bigger. That's why Spectrum will play a paramount role to enable the digital economy. Welcome to Huawei show Mid-bands, essential for 5G use cases development. My name, Joaquin Saldaña, and I will be your host during this session. We have prepared a very rich agenda with real use cases that will be delivered to you through our Galileo Hall. Also, we have a very interesting video about 6 GHz and mid-band spectrum characteristics. Finally, we will have a very interesting conversation with one of our spectrum experts from headquarters. I hope you will enjoy this session, but first, let me introduce you to Mr. Wang Zhao. He is the marketing VP in our carrier business group, who will deliver some words for us to start with. Welcome, Mr. Wang Zhao.
Welcome to Huawei's 5G development use case and the mid-band spectrum needs showcase. It's a pleasure to have all of you with us today. Last 5 years, we experienced so many advances in communication by mobile devices. More and more people are getting into the digital world with broadband access via fiber or MBB. Huawei is committed to bring digital to every person, home, and organization for a fully connected, intelligent world. We have seen the industries having digital transformation, moving towards the digital era. We have taken the broadband and cloud as a key element to enable the transformation. We have witnessed the increase on the use of the digital services at both personal and industrial level. Oxford Economics predicts that by 2025, the digital economy will reach $23 trillion worldwide. Among all technologies, IMT will create more economic and social value than any other wireless technology. That's why countries have to consider a sustainable plan of better spectrum usage. Huawei suggests a two-step approach to the spectrum usage. Step 1, fully use band in 3.5 GHz for early phase of 5G deployment. Step 2, reserve band in 6 GHz for later development of 5G and its beyond. Following GSMA suggestion, 2 GHz mid-band spectrum per country is necessary in 2025 to 2030. 6 GHz, 4.5 GHz, and 3.8 GHz are the most popular potential new mid-band for 5G advanced and 6G. It's still early to give the whole range of 1200 MHz to Wi-Fi. We advised lower 6 GHz to Wi-Fi and up 6 GHz to IMT as a balanced way to start. We believe that a license to IMT is a cost-effective way for carriers to provide consistent experience and protect their investment. Global collaboration is imperative to develop the 6 GHz IMT ecosystem and make it commercially available by 2023. Huawei will keep developing IMT technology and working on the entire ecosystem to create better solutions, taking advantage of the spectrum to support economic development. Thank you very much for your time, and I invite you to know deep the latest Huawei developments that will be presented during this section. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Thank you, Mr. Wang Zhao. It was very good words coming from you. Now, let's move on with our agenda. As I told you, now we're going to see our Galileo Hall, where we will be showing use cases already implemented on the 2B environment and also some on the 2C. And most important, we will hear about the spectrum requirements to make those use cases possible. The person who will guide us through this Galileo Hall is Mr. Linjiang Qin. Please, Linjiang, the audience is all yours.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Huawei 5G Exhibition Hall. My name is Lin Yanqing. Today is really my pleasure and honor to introduce you some 5G cases in this exhibition hall. But first, I would like to introduce an overall development of 5G. What you see here, some numbers, right? Now, globally, we have more than 160 commercial networks up and running. Those networks providing connections to more than 400 million subscribers already, right? With a base station number exceeding 1 million, right? 5G is developing really fast. And that fast development is coming from the support of the terminal ecosystem. What you see here is a statistics from GSI that by April of this year, we can see more than 700 5G device in the market. And one important thing for that is the price point for the entry-level smartphone is $150. This helps actually to touch the mass market in many countries, right? Although $150 is not expensive, but that smartphone is still a decent smartphone, right? Actually the fast development helps the operators, especially those early adopters, to get some return from this. For example, the operators in South Korea and also China that deployed since 2018 in South Korea and China in 2019, and they see some positive growth in ARPU and also revenue, which is actually quite challenging for the operators in a mature market to see some positive growth. Actually, 5G development is not just for the operators or for the consumers. It also has a contribution to the society. For example, based on GSMA estimation, today, the 5G contribution to the GDP is around $2.2 trillion. And by 2024, 5G will contribute to 4.9% of the global GDP. So that 5G has a big societal meaning. By this sense, that spectrum is very important for the 5G development, right? With the more requirement, more services in 5G network, more spectrum is very crucial for the 5G feature development. To this respect, the 6G presents a unique opportunity, right? And also we think that the licensed allocation of the spectrum is very important for the industry to have a healthy development in the future. Because 5G has a big capacity, a low latency, a high reliability, and also end-to-end guaranteed security and QoS, so that it can bring a lot of impact to different industry. For example, today I want to present you some use cases here in Shenzhen. Actually, Shenzhen today is called a 5G city because Shenzhen has more than 46,000 5G base stations already. And with the penetration into 9 industries, right? Already more than 100 5G use cases in these 9 industries. They are what you see here, the smart port, the smart factory, smart bus, finance, education, healthcare, and airport. So today I would like to introduce you some cases here. For example, the first case is about the education, right? With 5G connection, the kids, they can enjoy the VR education, right? That will provide an immersive experience for them. For example, they can sit in the classroom, but they can experiencing the Zhurong, the Martian rovers, the scenery on Mars using this VR technologies. With the 5G, it can support downlink, speed to 50 Mbps. And in the improved version of that, 5G holographic education is also possible and brings much better experience. But let's not forget the kids in the rural areas in China, because today in some distant and rural parts of China, the kids there, although they have a good infrastructure, but the resources for the education and the teaching is not that as good as in the Shenzhen. So that schools here, they can extend the teaching resources to the remote areas of China. For example, in Guizhou, some rural areas, those kids, they can get the remote education from the teachers in Shenzhen, right? So this is because of the 5G brings some positive impact to the educational industry. The second is about the entertainment. For example, here are some live broadcasting of a sports event or the media event. What you see here is a 5G with many cameras connecting to the 5G, a big connection, the capacity that actually enables what you see here is 360 degrees surrounding, with the cameras to do the live broadcasting. And I think what you can see here is, right, a surrounding live broadcasting using the 5G connection. It brings a very good experience to the end viewers, right? This is about the live broadcasting. And the third one is about the airport. For example, 5G already deployed in Shenzhen Airport. A lot of different use cases. For example, the 5G IoT connection to enable the navigation light, that you don't have to send some drivers to do the pilot cars, but rather a navigation light will guide the planes to go to the right dock. And also the patrol car, which you see here is actually the self-driving patrol car inside the campus, right? We know that today actually in the open roads, there are a lot of trials going on for the autonomous driving. For example, Shenzhen is the first city with the legal support to support the open roads autonomous driving for the cars, right? And the cars has those sensors, the cameras, the lidars. So every minute or every second, it creates a lot of data. Some of those data will have to upload to the network. Based on the Google estimation, every day, 8 hours on the open road driving, a car will create more than 1 terabyte data. Part of those data will have to be uploaded to the network. And that will also require downlink, high definition, real-time, high definition map. That actually requires a good connection between the cars to the network, to the roadside unit, right? So that 5G in this scenario will provide a significant, importance to the autonomous driving, right? So in this city scenario, because the capacity it requires to support different industry, today's 5G network, already we have 46,000 base stations. And in the future, there will be more data, more capacity required in more industries, so that 6G presents a unique importance to the 5G future development. Because 6G has a good balance of the capacity and the coverage, right? Capacity-wise, it's bigger, and also the coverage, because it can have a better massive MIMO capability. So the coverage, it has almost the same coverage with C-band spectrum coverage, right? So with the 6 GHz support, now we can have a better 5G city in the future. And also important thing is, because you're building the 5G network with 6 GHz, that you don't need many base stations like a millimeter wave spectrum, so that it also contribute to the green development of the city, right? This is about use cases in the city. And now let's take a look at a case in Huawei factory. We call it a smart factory. Here, actually, I want to introduce 3 scenarios of the 5G. One is 5G actually connects those equipment wirelessly instead of those cables. In Huawei factory, actually in the past, 19 kilo cables required. Now all connect with a wireless, 5G wireless. And the second one is about the quality inspection, right? We manufacture a lot of different products, the same day, and then in the past, we're using the human inspection, quality inspection. But now we use 5G and AI to do the quality inspection. The efficiency is greatly improved, and also accuracy is much higher. The third case is about the 5G connected robots to do the collaboration in the production line. And now let's just do a small demonstration. What I do here is I wanted to have this one. I want to present you the collaboration of these robots with the 5G connection, right? It will do the precise movement. And also in collaboration. This is called C2C, control-to-control movement in the manufacturing industry. And it actually simulates the assembling of the 5G smartphones. So using 5G to manufacturing 5G, right? So this you see here is the 5G cameras to do the machine vision and AI to do the quality check. And once it's fine, then it's complete. This is actually already deployed in Huawei factory. At the same time, we carry out some trials in the European countries, for example, in Germany, and also in other countries as well to do the smart manufacturing. The next case is about the seaport. Actually, what you see here is a model of the Ma1 seaport in Shenzhen. It's also one of the biggest seaport in China. And now you can take a look at video on how the seaport operates, so that you can have better understanding.
Today, we're going to take a look at the 5G smart port. This is Ma1 port in Shenzhen. Massive cranes, 40 meters in the sky. It's not easy getting to work. And here we are, right at the top of the crane. Behind me, you can see the crane room. This is where the operator sits. Now, usually, there's 3 or 4 of them working in 8-hour shifts. This is where the crane operators now work. Take a look at these screens over here. You'll see video views from all the cameras on the crane delivered over this 5G network. With 5G, the job for these port workers has emphatically changed from a blue-collar job to a white-collar one. Ma1 port handles about 3 million containers every year. That's about 10,000 every day. This is a trailer that transports the containers around the port site. Now, we can see the trailer doesn't actually have a driver. Yes, these trucks are completely unmanned and they drive themselves around the site. There's not even a cabin on top for a driver. Instead, they have 360-degree cameras, various sensors, and a radar on top to help with positioning, along with a 5G antenna. All of this controlled completely over 5G. This ensures the efficiency of operation and also the safety of the site, all completed over the 5G network here at the port. We're now under the port bridges where a tallyman traditionally would be working, counting the containers and their contents going in and out. It's also a very risky environment. Now the people are gone and the cranes in the quay have a pair of intelligent eyes. With 5G, these clerks can bid farewell to the wind and rain forever. All it takes is a screen and a few clicks of the mouse and the process is complete. The 5G port, truly a bright light in the digital transformation of all industries.
5G is also important to the broadband development, right? We know countries like South Korea and UAE, they almost have 100% penetration of the fiber connection. But many countries, they do not have this kind of connectivity. For example, countries in developing, place like Africa, like some Asia Pacific countries, they don't have a good broadband connection, right? So that in this situation, 5G provides an alternative broadband connection. It's called 5G FWA, fixed wireless access. With the 5G FWA, it provides a cost-effective, affordable connection to the people needed, especially in the pandemic. That 5G broadband is actually a lifeline to those people in the rural areas in the developing countries. But not just the developing countries, but also the developed markets. They also use 5G FWA. For example, the big operators in the United States, they all consider 5G FWA as a big business and important connection method. For example, the AT&T, they're providing a 5G FWA package like $200 with 100 Mbps that target more on the enterprise market, big and small. For example, they provide the 5G hotel, a 5G gas station, 5G bank, 5G campus using this package. And T-Mobile, a little bit different approach. They're providing $50 package with 100 Mbps, targeting more on the home broadband market. Not only United States, but also European Union. Last year, European Union, they consider 5G FWA as an important option for their very high capacity network. Actually, they have the fiber connection, they have the 5G FWA connection. That helps the member states to reach their broadband target, especially in the rural areas, right? 5G FWA is an effective way to mitigate the digital divide between the urban and the rural areas, because you don't have to dig the trench and lay out the fiber or the fiber to the home. So the cost is greatly reduced, and the connection speed actually can be guaranteed, like what you see here, up to 200 Mbps for the home broadband connection, right? So in this sense, 6 GHz is considered to be a very important spectrum for the 5G FWA. It's simple. First, 6 GHz presents a bigger capacity, right? More bandwidth for the operators. And second, 6 GHz can have a better massive MIMO feature, so the coverage is similar to the C-band. In the rural areas, this is very important, right? We think that 6 GHz is very important for the 5G FWA services, and it will have not only just business sense to the operators, but has a bigger societal positive contribution in the long run. And with this, I want to summarize. Today, I introduced the 5G overall development and also some 5G use cases. They will need more spectrum in the mid-band, like 6 GHz. So this is not all. Actually, this exhibition hall is really big. So I will welcome you to come to our hall physically, and I can introduce in more detail about those. And thank you for your time. Bye.
Now it's more clear why the digital economy is growing so rapidly all around the world. Use cases are in all industries, and IMT has been a very good engine to boost the digital economy. And also, we are seeing the importance of the mid-band spectrum to enable it. Now, let's move on and see a video with the technical characteristics of the mid-bands, why their importance, and why it's so critical to make a good planification of that spectrum. Please, let's see the video, and then we will get back to our conversation with the spectrum expert that I told you before to get more insights about the spectrum. So let's go with the video on spectrum characteristics.
5G has been the fastest growing generation of mobile communications. Cost-effective continuous high-capacity coverage in mid-band has already been delivered in many areas. 5G has achieved commercial use for applications, creating great social value. According to OVUM and ITU, countries with leading 5G development will see the user penetration reaching 80% by 2025. And the data of usage, DOU, will reach 100 gigabytes by 2025 and 250 gigabytes by 2030. According to Coliago Consulting, 1 to 2 gigahertz of additional mid-band spectrum will be needed by 2025 to 2030. Mid-bands can offer good balance between coverage and capacity. We expect the 6 gigahertz band to play a central role in 5.5G and 6G. While 3GPP has already agreed on a work item for 5G-NR in the 6 GHz band, the ITUR calls on national administrations to contribute to the WRC-23 process, AI 1.2. Cooperating with industry partners, began its research into key 6 GHz technologies and prototype verification in 2020. During the recent field test performed in an urban environment, 5G performance was compared at 3.5 GHz band and the 6 GHz band. The test used massive MIMO radio units with the same bandwidth and total radiated power for the two bands, deployed in the same commercial urban macro cell sites, and with the user equipment placed in the same test cart. The coverage performance was compared for the two bands in outdoor-to-outdoor scenarios, including dense foliage, and non-line-of-sight radio propagation, and for outdoor-to-indoor scenarios, including penetration through internal walls. In the outdoor-to-outdoor scenarios, the maximum distance between the base station and the user equipment was 400 meters. The measured average downlink performance along the drive test for the 6 GHz band was 10% to 15% higher than that for the 3.5 GHz band. Both near-point and far-point and shallow indoor cases were tested for the outdoor-to-indoor scenarios, with user equipment 150 meters and 200 meters from the outdoor macro base station. The test results show that in the shallow indoor case, the 6 GHz band can provide the same performance as the 3.5 GHz band. Through the use of innovative advanced technologies, the 6 GHz band can provide similar coverage performance as the 3.5 GHz band in urban and suburban environments. These technologies can compensate for the propagation gap between these two bands. Based on the results of these tests, we consider that the 6 GHz band represents a viable option for the future IMT macrocellular deployments. The 6 GHz end-to-end industry ecosystem will continue to develop and is expected to become mature starting from around 2023. We believe it is important to exploit the 6 GHz band to its full potential. This can happen through strong collaboration between administrations, the mobile industry, and the incumbent users in the band.
Welcome back, everybody. As I promised, after the interesting video we have seen, let me introduce you with Mr. Duye Jin. Okay, so Jin, please introduce yourself briefly.
Thanks, Joaquin. Hello, everyone. This is Duye Jin. I come from the 5G product line of Huawei. Nice to be with you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for being with us. So we are here to talk about Spectrum, but we need to start with how do you see 5G progress and 5G evolution in the near future? Can you tell us about it?
Okay. By October 2021, there are 176 5G networks launched, 500 million 5G users developed, and 1.5 million 5G base stations built worldwide. 85% of the 5G networks are based on the middle bands. That is the main trend in 5G spectrum. And we found that the leading 5G countries has spent more than 10 years to prepare this 3.5 gigahertz spectrum. As the development of personal communication and the industry applications, the IMT industry is researching and defining 5G advanced and 6G standard. 5G advanced brings in three new application scenarios, such as uplink-centric broadband communication, real-time broadband communication, and harmonized communications and sensing. This is expected to be defined in 3GPP release 18 and 19 around 2025. 6G will be defined by 2030. The network performance become much stronger. For example, the cell capacity will be 1,000 times as 5G, and the peak throughput will reach 1 terabps. Joaquin.
Okay, so 5G evolving, 6G coming, new services, as you said, with more bandwidth requirements. That will change the landscape of the spectrum requirements that we have right now. What can you tell us about that spectrum needs in the coming future?
Well, this is a good question. So recently, one report from the GSMA suggests that a 2 gigahertz middle band spectrum is necessary in the year 2025 to 2030. Spectrum requirement is related to population density and fiber penetration rather than revenue. Thus, developed country has high EOU. Developing countries has high desire of a home connection. All of them need 2 gigahertz middle bands in 2030. 6 gigahertz, 4.5 gigahertz, 3.8 gigahertz are the most popular potential middle band, which need to be prepared 5 to 10 years in advance. According to Huawei and Bell Labs' opinion, 6G suggests 400 to 500 megahertz per carrier in middle band spectrum, and the downlink capacity become 20 times as 5G in average. 6 gigahertz, 4.5 gigahertz, and 3.8 gigahertz would be primary bands for 5G advanced and 6G. Joaquin.
Okay, so Even when we started talking about 5G, we said that it will be low bands, mid bands, and millimetric bands. But we have found that mid bands are essentials for it. There's where all the use cases are being deployed. And 6 gigahertz, it's becoming the key for that mid-band evolution. So what can you tell us about existing research around the world about 6G? Should it be IMT or should be unlicensed spectrum? How should we treat it? And what's the industry thinking about it?
Yeah, this is a very big question, very big topic. Let's start from the ITU. Firstly, ITU-R has set up a 6 gigahertz IMT research item in WRC 19 in order to coordinate different regions to explore the possibility of 6 gigahertz using for IMT. It has reached a preliminary proposal that Region 1 research 6425 to 7125 megahertz. Region 2 and Region 3 research 7025 to 7125 megahertz. Nevertheless, Russian plans up 6 gigahertz for IMT and China plans a full 6 gigahertz for IMT. As a preliminary research shows that the coexistence with incumbent service is possible. It is expected that 6 gigahertz would be identified as IMT in WRC 23. Meantime, the industry developed a 6 gigahertz prototype tester in field. The result shows that 6 gigahertz performance is comparable to 3.5 gigahertz, and a single use equipment throughput is even higher through high-order massive MIMO technology. Nowadays, more and more industry players invest in research with 6 gigahertz base stations and the terminal chips. The end-to-end ecosystem will be ready in 2023. In addition to GSMA's strong point of view on 6 gigahertz, Tier 1 operators also have a positive opinion on 6 gigahertz. Vodafone point out that the 3.5 gigahertz is today and the 6 gigahertz is for the future. Because the middle band can provide a good balance between the coverage and the capacity. 6 gigahertz upper band availability for 5G in the future is very important for the future capacity and performance in Europe. CMCC, China Mobile, has published a paper in IEEE Communication Standard Magazine. The title, Consideration on 6 gigahertz spectrum for 5G advanced and 6G, is its opinion to 6 gigahertz. Meanwhile, it also calls on 6 gigahertz recommended to be released in sequence to form the 5G advanced and 6G spectrum resource pools, and encourage countries to update the spectrum allocation plans to incorporate 6 gigahertz as an IMT spectrum in the long-term spectrum roadmap. Joaquin.
So I think we should keep an eye on 6 gigahertz evolution.
Yes, exactly.
Because it will be needed. Thank you very much. I would like to ask you for a final remarks for your participation here.
Okay. Spectrum is a fundamental of ICT infrastructure. Making 2 gigahertz per country and 6 gigahertz available in middle band is very, very important for 5G advanced and 6G.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate your knowledge and your sharing it with us. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you, Joaquin. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
We'll keep here. Bye.
Well, we have reached the end of our session. Hope you have get enough information about the perspective of mid-bands, our position on 6 gigahertz, and the importance to make a good planification around it. Thank you very much for joining us. for being with us. Hope you can see us in a coming show. Thank you very much.